Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with jazz pianist and composer Helen sung on the 2021 CD Quartet Plus with the Harlem Quartet. This album celebrates the work of influential women composers by crafting new arrangements of tunes by Geri Allen, Carla Bley, Mary Lou Williams, Marian McPartland, and Toshiko Akiyoshi, as she carries the tradition forward with her own new works as well. She opened up about this new project, COVID, live gigs, and the future as we march forward. Enjoy.
I figure talking about music's kind of a departure from what's going on, and I really enjoyed. Yeah, I really enjoyed the new CD with the Harlem Quartet.
Oh, thank you.
So yeah, you bet. So let's start with that as kind of, since we addressed the elephant in the room with COVID and all of that that's affected us. So my question to you up front is this. There's been limited interaction with fans. You have a brand new CD that's coming out that gets to directly communicate with the fans with the opportunity of live music. How does this release feel to you right now, the timing of it?
It was purposeful, and partly it had to be released now because of certain grants that I got for it, and it's the fastest I've ever recorded and released an album. We recorded this in April of 2021, which was an epic experience. Just, the extra layers of inconvenience and complications that COVID adds to everything. Mixed it in May, mastered it in June, and sent it off to Sunnyside. And so just really grateful for people, the whole process. And people like yourself, we continue to carry on the best we can in the face of the new set of circumstances that we're facing. And I'm doing my best. I have been doing a fair number of live performances this year. So they've had a more self-produced, some of them. Like for this one, I've got a grant from the city. They call it, City Artists Corps grant. And it enabled me to do an in-person concert at Flushing Town Hall, which is, Queens is my home borough. I've been here ever since I moved. And it was such an awesome experience. So in some ways, the release has all the same trappings. You have to get all the artwork together. You have to, get the radio stuff together, publicity. It's the performance part that's actually, I think it's going to be good. Right after Flushing Town Hall, we went to Lake George and presented it there for the Lake George. They had a Jazz at the Lake Festival weekend. And then this week I'm leaving to do a 2-day residency at Amherst College in Amherst, Massachusetts. So I feel like actually the streaming, at least from my experience, is starting to kind of wane as the sole source of sharing music, because I think people are so hungry for live music. I think the Met is starting today, and it's so exciting. They're presenting an opera by Terence Blanchard. I just heard on the radio he's the first African-American composer to be presented at the Met. Broadway just opened, and we had a really good turnout at Flushing Town Hall, which is, not Manhattan. There were some fans, they traveled 3 hours, to get there from Jersey, and that was just so touching because, asking people to come indoors for a performance means something so different. Our world is different, but we find a way, I guess, because this music it has to be in person, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Over this time, it's been reflective. We've had time during the quarantine and lockdown to really kind of look within ourselves. And I wonder, what did you learn about yourself that maybe you didn't realize before? And then a part B to that is, how do you see yourself reemerging more, stronger as we get back out and start kind of doing this again?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know if this is learning something or maybe just continuing the journey of being an artist, being isolated, being by myself, not being around people. It was really cool in a way. I was forced to really look inside myself. And when I was working on music, I was able to ask myself, what do I want this to sound like? Instead of, before the pace of life was so frantic, my pace of life was so frantic. I was just basically running from gig to gig, from, assignment to assignment, and I barely had time to really think about what I was doing. I was just doing the best I could at that moment, and then I had to move on right away. And I think, I'm sure everybody says this, just the chance to stop was horrible, but also really awesome at the same time, because I think part of me is addicted to that just nonstop work, nonstop on the go, nonstop busyness, because there's a part of you that can't think about things that are maybe a little uncomfortable or just like, just the meaning of it all. And so needing to stop, having no choice but to stop, it was really beneficial that way, because I think something is lost when there is no time to reflect over what you're doing, and just getting the chance, because my work was severely curtailed, although I luckily was able to fill it with, the online stuff that organizations pivoted to and the live streaming, but it still was not, close to what I was doing before. But I actually had time to really prepare for each thing and to really go practice it and thoroughly, you can always do more, just in a deeper way, and really come up with something that had substance versus just survival mode, you know what I mean? Like, so that is something I really want to guard because I feel that same pressure again. So it's like somebody turned on the faucet in September or something, and just that they juggling 10 things at once. Like, this week for me is just nuts. And I want to guard, like, that's the only word I can think of, to guard that space of just time to reflect and think about what I'm actually doing, and giving myself enough time to prepare this music, because it's, I don't want to just give something surfacey, and because that was literally all the time I had. So that's going to be challenging, because as a freelancer, I'm also stuck in that, you say yes to almost everything, because, you never know what each month is going to bring forth. But I think being able to survive the pandemic showed me that I can say no to things, when, of course not with, like, I'm grateful for every opportunity that comes my way, but I can't do everything. That's maybe a big thing that I learned. I can't do everything, and I know that what I want to do, I want it to be really, really of the highest quality and full of substance and just beauty and joy, because there is that part of that, something I learned in the pandemic is just how impermanent things are. I thought people would always be around, people would always be available, and that sadly, that was never true. But I think when I'm stuck in that frantic pace of life, I forget that. So I just really, whatever I do, I want to be fully present, fully engaged with whoever I'm working with, making the most of everything, because all we have is the now. I know people say that's so cliche, but yeah, maybe you can come up with a better way of putting it, since you're the writer.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's totally true. With this new album, what do you hope the listener gets from this experience?
With making this album, I wanted to create music that would bring a lot of people together and a lot of different ideas, different worlds, and I wanted to celebrate women's artistry. So I want people to just discover just the breadth and the range and the beauty and the just variety of just music made by women. That's one big thing. And I want them to just a sense of how, like I always say, jazz is the most generous art form, because it has, influenced every form of popular music in America, and also the world too, in my opinion. And it can take in any amount of influences from other art forms, but yet jazz, I think, is so unique. It doesn't lose its core. Like, I don't think you can say that for another kind of music. So, being able to bring the two main artistic musical traditions that shape my life, jazz and classical, but I think there's all those also elements of pop and of, popular music, other forms. So just for them to get a sense of how big this music is, and I hope to, I don't know what the word is, enlighten, just show the classical world, like, how awesome jazz is too, and then how the two can totally be friends and really have a great time together, creating music together on stage. I'm trying to get classical artists to improvise.
Yeah, and that's the sense that I got out of this album for sure. Helen, thank you for opening up about this new project and the world we're living in. Good luck with everything as we move forward.
Oh, thank you, Joe. Please take good care, and I hope to be back in Kansas City soon.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players in New York City, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Helen for her time, music, and story. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.